Hello, 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 and today is not a combo guide, a tier list. Play this character, only trying to influence you into demonic ways. What we are doing is a series of case studies on all characters in Dragon Ball FighterZ, and today we are covering Daimao, the Demon King, Piccolo himself. Now at a glance, when you see Piccolo, he's probably one of the most smoothest feeling characters, with some of the coolest combos and extensions, command grabs all over the place, doing really cool stuff to open his opponent up with tricks that he's learned from the years that he's been alive. So if you want to have the master, the absolute master of the Demon King arts, then Piccolo is definitely for you. Now, as always in these case studies, I like to talk about zones. So these are the concepts I use here. So really simple to understand. We're going to talk about up close, mid-range, and far. So now, depending on your level, you're going to hear me speak up in zones. I'm going to go through the characters' buttons on the ground, in the air, supers, specials, and their win conditions and game plans that they might employ and fighting against them. But before we start, there we go. Let's begin. So up close Piccolo. He's obviously 5L. He can chain his 4LL, so he's really good for confirms. See, the range isn't that great. Range is actually the greatest, but it's okay. See, he can do the same with his 2L. So Piccolo's already got two good buttons here that can connect from so far out, even some of the smallest characters. Piccolo's 5LL is -2. This is ridiculous. This is fantastic. So Piccolo's able to do this, and you see it advances. So Piccolo can continue attacking his opponent. You see here? So -2 means that your opponent has only a short window to realize Piccolo has stopped. So combine this with Piccolo's other strings, it's a lot for your opponent to kind of fight against. 5M is -5, but this hits from near mid-range. So this is Piccolo's kind of approach tool. When you're really far from your opponent, Piccolo will kind of use this as his approach tool. Only -5. So this is a fantastic tool to use versus the Demon King can use. It's 2M being -6, but again the speed of it. So this is only 12 frames. It's a really good 2M to kind of just throw out. So Piccolo's got a classic 2M, kind of like Goku's Super Saiyan Goku's one before it was changed. It's a really good 2M that you can throw out there. Fast as well. So you see Piccolo's got really fast normals, really fast up close. It's 5H. Works from so far out, so this hits really far out. So this is Piccolo, one of Piccolo's tools of entry. Piccolo can literally just do this from there, from far out. It's 2H, one of the fastest 2Hs, being 13 frames and a great angle. So this is really good for when you're backing up versus your opponent and to really get off those 2Hs up close. Now normals, Piccolo has, so in the air he's got JM. This hits twice. You can even fake out your opponent and go low. So it's a really good move versus your opponent. Good approach tool as well. His JL is one of the better JLs in the game, so if your opponent was to super dash. Oh, I wasn't able to do it there. If opponent's able to super dash, it had such a good angle. I say such a good angle and I get hit, right? But it hits from so far out. So this is a really good angle to kind of throw out to guard the skies, and Piccolo's jumping back like this. Combined with his JH. Another good tool to kind of use. A bit too fast and do a bit slower. A really good tool to use to kind of, when you're back away from your opponent, that Piccolo is using combined with his JL. Now let's go into supers, because Piccolo has a few of them. So Piccolo has obviously Hell Zone. So this is really good to use off of a knockdown. If you use a knockdown with Piccolo. Let me do this properly. After a knockdown, Piccolo can actually do this to his opponent. And his opponent has to kind of guess the situation that they have to do there. He can also do it in a combo. So you can also combo it as well, as we saw there. And this helps Piccolo get a DR kind of mid screen with the right combo and the right thing there. Piccolo also has special beam cannon. If you hold it down, it's powered up. If he does it normally, he does it there. So depending on kind of the right assist usage you have there, you can have the powered up, his powered up version where he holds down. And then if you do left right like this, you can actually decide where you want it to be. So it's really fun to use with Piccolo. And last but not least, Piccolo is level 3, can't be done in the air, can only be done in the ground. Really fast level 3 that Piccolo can throw out there. Now let's move on to specials, because Piccolo has an array of them. So we showed a few of them. His 236S is this little homing ball, but if your opponent, as you know, is able to super dash through this. Sorry, not reflect, sorry. There you go. Your opponent is able to super dash through this, so this is like a key blast. A really slow moving key blast. Help Piccolo have a bit of control. Piccolo also has his 6S. So this is good for Piccolo because this gives him the ability to vanish. Sorry, I'm doing it again. So Piccolo, here it's hard for him to do it from any of these normals, as you can see. So Piccolo can use this into vanish. So as you saw, he can't do 236S into vanish. So that's really helpful for Piccolo to use there. Piccolo's 236S. This little shoulder here, this is -2. So Piccolo can combine that. This is -2. Piccolo also has the M version, which just goes a bit further. And then he also has the H version, which goes in front. So this is really good for as an opponent to kind of fake them out. He goes in front there, all being -2. Piccolo's 5S, obviously is a grab that he's +5. For Piccolo to continue this combo, can you do 5H to vanish or to straight into super. Jumping one as well, as you saw in the corner, these are a bit more effective. So in the corner, obviously, you get more effective combos with Piccolo. So if you do this one, Piccolo can continue his combo. So the corner is really helpful for his grabs, or even just catching your opponent. Here, when your opponents are sleeping, is really good for Piccolo to use versus his opponents there. Piccolo also has 214L. As you saw, it has some armor there. So what that means is, so he's got a bit of an armor point. It's not straight away. Piccolo can kind of use it. So if you combine this and this, you might think you want to combine this. Combine it with EX. Piccolo's able to do -2 into the H version. Oh, wrong button. He can do that. So the M version is the same. It's not straight away. So you see here, the M version isn't straight away. However, with the H version, I did it the wrong way. There we go. So one more time. Sorry, I keep doing it wrong. I keep doing this wrong. There we go. So that's the L version. M version. And then the H version. So these have armor points. With Piccolo, these are able, this is a good kind of wake up option for Piccolo to kind of throw out there. Piccolo's able to kind of set up Hell Zone or whatever he wants to set up there versus his opponents. That's something you can use there. And you can also use 236 L to kind of move in the skies. So Piccolo, this is kind of a nice way to kind of move through projectiles. So Piccolo's got a really nice, cool way of moving around. Now I can spend so long talking around these specials and the applications of using them, but let's go delve straight into the meat and potatoes, right? Let's go straight into win conditions and game plans. Now Piccolo, as you saw before, he has grabs, right? So he's got these grabs. They don't seem that really that fast. The air one is pretty strong. So Piccolo, and also we saw with the Hell Zone here, Piccolo is very strong in the corner. So it's very hard for Piccolo to do, to do all of it, to do all of these to get a knockdown for Piccolo. He has to spend a lot of, he has to spend meter to get kind of knockdown. So with Piccolo, unless he's mid-screen, he has to spend some 0.5 bar. Whereas in the corner, Piccolo doesn't have to spend any meter. So the corner is where Piccolo is really, really strong. And if you combine that with the fact that Piccolo can set up Hell Zone for his opponent to kind of be ready to kind of guess the situation, or even just setting up. Piccolo can do this, set up orbs, and really make his opponent guess. So he spends less meter in the corner. So the faster Piccolo gets into the corner, where you're guessing between him doing his grab here, doing his IAD fake into the low. Obviously with this double hitting here, and command grab, hitting you in command grab, Piccolo's really strong in the corner. So one of his biggest win conditions is cornering his opponent. Now let's go into assists. Right, who can help him with this? Now Piccolo, what Piccolo kind of enjoys in a partner, if you see by his tools and what he has, is he enjoys horizontal and vertical control for his approach. So Piccolo himself, aside from doing this, Piccolo doesn't really have an approach aside from doing this and throwing out unsafe moves. This takes a while to start. So Piccolo loves assists that allow him some type of approach. So as we see here with Vegito, it allows Piccolo to have some type of approach. So these are really helpful for him. Now secondly, and also with Broly as well, what Piccolo really loves is extensions. The faster his opponent is in the corner, the faster his opponent gets to the corner. In fact, Piccolo doesn't have to spend that 0.5 bar, he enjoys that. So we see it there with Piccolo, with Vegito. If I can actually do my combo. See, Piccolo wants to stay away from using this. And using his assist for extensions, even though I spent a bar, Piccolo gained. If you look at that, I gained a whole bar from just using that combo. So there I was able to spend a 0.5 bar. But if I using the correct assists, should I do this again? One more time. I'm really bad. One more time. Here I'm able to get a knockdown without spending the 0.5 bar. So using these assists, Piccolo really enjoys them. And kind of a third or a secret one that people don't realize about Piccolo. Piccolo loves when his opponents are blocking. So he loves the vertical control for approach, and he loves the vertical control and space control here. Because as long as Piccolo makes you block, he can put you into a situation where you're going to have to deal with here, especially assists that are blinding you. Piccolo puts you in situations where you really have to kind of deal with his options. That's what Piccolo kind of enjoys there. So if we look at Vegito, we saw it, these two are both helpful for this. Let's see their B assists. So Vegito, obviously this is 37 frames, but it helps Piccolo get in. So 20 from there. But on block, this is plus 44. So for someone like Piccolo, this does give him some type of approach tool. So it's not really fast. However, when his opponent blocks, it gives Piccolo options to, especially plus 50. Piccolo can really mix up his opponent by doing stuff like that. Really mix up opponent with IAD into grab, and obviously getting whatever combo you've practiced there. Now extensions, let's see how they work for extensions. So extensions, we have Vegito B. Probably not. It looks a bit. It's probably gonna work. Probably needs a bit slower. So it looks it's easy to work for extensions, and obviously block stun, as we saw before, making the opponent block. We saw Vegito's helpful there. Now Broly B definitely helps him. It gives him a faster control here, because obviously his 236S can be super dashed itself. So him having an assist that's basically the same thing might be counterintuitive. However, it does allow him to traverse space. because obviously he has great buttons to stop super dash, as we saw before. So using assist for approach, super dash or not, we saw it helps him horizontally, and especially with his great buttons, Piccolo's great buttons. So Piccolo's great buttons, his IADH, we saw that he has great approaching tools that he can use there, so we probably can use probably B there. And extensions, I would believe that this would be helpful as well. Let's try it right now. Oh, it's gonna be a bit slower, I guess. See that you could probably even swap sides of that one. Yeah, you can swap sides. Probably doing it a bit too fast. One more time. A bit too fast, sorry. So you probably could swap sides there. If I just ran under, probably, then I could probably get something to swap sides there. Let's try with C assist as well. Now, from what we said about obviously block stun, Broly will probably help him do command grab, but it doesn't really. It's going to help him do block strings. So now if we look at the C assist. So as an approach tool, of course, Piccolo really enjoys the C assist for as an approach tool, because when Piccolo throws this out and his opponent dares to super dash, if my opponent was blocking, if we combine this with the C assist, maybe not. Maybe this C assist won't help here. However, it's plus 20, so probably not this C assist. If we do this, another C assist, that C assist is obviously going to help him there. So if we combine here, this definitely gives him an approach. So if your opponent was trying to, so I can throw out 256S, and I know I'm safe, combined with this. So that's helpful for his approach, more so than when the other one. Extensions, obviously CSS naturally give extensions. And on block, what is Broly's on block? Plus 29, so at least it gives some coverage to Piccolo to be able to do this here combined. So if it's plus 29, your opponent still has to think about these options. So that's kind of the things you kind of thinking about when you're picking your assist with Piccolo. Now on the other side we have Gohan. It gives him a vertical approach. It does give him an approach here. So Piccolo up close here, it does give him an approach because it does go pretty far. So here in the mid-range, Piccolo can stick out his 5H. But Gohan is also able to give Piccolo some type of approach here as well. And locking down his opponent. If we talk about locking down his opponent. Or keeping them grounded, this does help. Extensions, naturally, it looks like it should. Probably be a bit harder. So it'll probably be a bit harder, or probably be a bit combo you have to do there. So probably you have to work on the combo there. Yamcha, naturally, this gives a great approach on the ground. So this will help Piccolo obviously gain in from here. Extensions, definitely Yamcha. So Yamcha obviously gives extensions, so obviously helping Piccolo not spend that 0.5 bar, but also by doing extensions, Piccolo can do these extensions and spend the bar anyway. So it's up to your choice. Not only that, but Yamcha's very good at locking the opponent down. Because as we saw, Yamcha from up close is plus 40 and it's really fast. He's 19 frames, so this is very good for Piccolo. Combined here, where your opponent really has to guess between what Piccolo is going to do. If he's going to do the grab, or with Yamcha, is he going to go Yamcha, high, do this into the grab? Stuff that the opponent really has to think about. So that's a great assist for him as well. Now, we've talked about Piccolo offensively. He seems like a beast. Piccolo's got it all, right? But one thing we haven't talked about is Piccolo fighting against him. Now, fighting against Piccolo, Piccolo has a terrible time dealing with conventional 5S's. So he has to have a play a really reactive game. As in super dashing before them or moving around the screen. Piccolo has to be really reactive when he's playing against these characters, because he doesn't have the tools to kind of deal with them. Now when Piccolo is by himself as well, trying to mix you up, yes, Piccolo has this grab here, but this grab is on the slow end. If you look at his options here, we've got Piccolo here, and you hold up, for instance. So all of Piccolo's options if you look at all of Piccolo's options here, all of his options will lose to his opponent kind of holding up there. So there's something that your opponent has to really, really think about. Or you have to think about when you're playing against Piccolo, is all of his options, be that the grab option, be that the cross-up option, be that this option. And even if he's doing the 6S option, all of these options all lose to this exact same situation. So Piccolo has to be really, really smart when he's employing all of these options here to kind of really bait out his opponent. He has to be really, really smart in doing that. Now let's go back to character select screen before we spend a million years talking about Piccolo. So yeah, we spoke about the Demon King. Kind of win conditions for Piccolo is you just being in the corner. Lets him save that bar. Instead of spending the 0.5 bar, it lets him save that bar to do for Hell Zone, using 2 for success on knockdown. It allows Piccolo to use his jump command grab, his S jump S, his 5S, so your opponent can't just walk away. Your opponent really has to kind of deal with what Piccolo is doing to them. So just a simple condition of being in the corner and him not spending that bar allows Piccolo to do these damaging options. You saw it with his charge level 1. Spending bar for damage instead of for knockdown. So it's really helpful in being in the corner. We spoke about how partners, he's looking for people who have horizontal control or vertical control. So we saw with Broly's A assist, it gave him that horizontal control and the vertical control, and it gave him to be able to approach. And also on block, it allowed Piccolo, because it obscured vision, it allowed Piccolo to mix up, to continue his block string, because he has great buttons. Piccolo can do his LL being -2. He has fantastic buttons that he can use versus these characters. We also talked about extensions. We saw with Vegito A and his B assist, and also Broly's as well, that extensions, they're really helpful. We also saw with the C assist how Broly's C assist was really helpful for Piccolo in that approach as well, and with some blocks, and it was helpful too. And we also saw with Yamcha and also Team Gohan, they're both helpful in doing that too. Fighting against Piccolo, we briefly talked about how conventional 5S is, how Team Gohan's 5S are give him a terrible time full screen. He has to play a really reactive game with him placing his 236S or moving through the skies. It's because he can't be proactive due to his tools. So he has to be really, really reactive to what your opponent does. Or if he's putting stuff on the screen, he has to do it way, way, way before your opponent does it. So your opponent can actually bait you up there. We also talked about how his options, yes, his mix-up options were great, but we talked about how each of them lose to kind of the same option. So if your opponent's reacting in the exact same way, holding up or trying to escape back, or they all lose, or they don't prohibit your opponent from doing that. So Piccolo has to be very great in nailing down his opponents. That was not a pun, I promise. He has to be really good at nailing down his opponents, so that he can use options. So the opponent, your Piccolo, has to be really smart in using this. So I hope this video, you liked the video. If you leave a like, please leave a like, comment as well. As always, I want to create kind of not just a community of people understanding, but I want us to really think about our characters, not just follow what people say, but just picking the right characters that are really helpful to helping these characters really progress through the game. But I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.